Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, the CDB projects a 2% economic growth for the region in 2019. Retired law enforcement official calls for a review of the provision of bail for people charged with murder. And Carnival opens officially in Maho and Portsmouth this weekend. The details coming up.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evo.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are.
Big good soul scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evo.
Dominica is positioning itself to become a founding member of the newest international organization, ULAC.
ULAC is a relatively young organization created in 2010 by a decision of heads of states and governments of the European Union, Latin America, and the Caribbean. Executive Director of the ULAC Foundation spoke to local media on Friday and said one of the organization's goals is to facilitate the contact between civil society organizations and governments.
At the moment, we are undergoing a very important transformation because we are becoming an international organization. This was from the very beginning the intention of head of state of government. They wanted to have an organization which would facilitate the contact between especially civil society organization and government across the two regions. Therefore, just yesterday, the first Eastern Caribbean nation ratified the agreement, and which is St. Kitts and Nevis, and we are coming very close to this landmark moment where we will become an international organization.
The foundation's executive director says its focus on improving the mutual knowledge and visibility of European, Latin America, and Caribbean relations.
Indeed, our nation and region have been connected for centuries, and there are a lot of contacts at the level of people, businesses, research institution, you name it. At the same time, what we observe that despite this very long frequentation of ours, still there are gaps in knowledge, and this is especially true for the smaller member because they have been less connected and where we think that we can bring value added.
Amade is hopeful that Dominica will be among the founding members of the organization once the process has been ratified.
At the moment, the organization is transforming into an international organization, and we would like to see Dominica as one of the founding members, so to ratify soon our agreement. And I understand from Minister Byron that the process is quite advanced. So we hope that when the transformation is happening, which, as I say, would happen soon and would happen as soon as we have reached a minimum number of ratification, apart from St. Kitts and Nevis, there will be other Eastern Caribbean nations as founding member.
ULAC Foundation currently has a total of 61 members.
Two communities to host the official Carnival opening ceremonies this weekend.
Maho, dubbed the village that never sleeps, will kick off its Carnival celebrations on Saturday. Coordinator for the parade, Siobhan Baron, says Carnival celebrations in Maho promise to be grand.
The Maho Carnival, as you all know, always grand. Okay, and I'm inviting everyone to come celebrate with us this Saturday at our opening. Okay, we will have a very lovely packed parade. All right, we will start from 3 o'clock at the Credit Union and go towards Zaman Park. We will have a lovely ceremony. All right, we'll have the revelers and then an after party. We're inviting one and all. We'll have an after party by the young Buyo generation, as well as the Triple K Band, and lots more. And also after this Saturday, we are going to continue with our Friday warm-ups. We'll also have every Friday we'll have a warm-up leading up to Carnival. And on Carnival Tuesday, we're going to have a paint and powder t-shirt ban. All right, only $50. So we look forward to that as well.
Linnell Datush, another member of the Maho Village Carnival Committee, says the organizing body has taken steps to not impede the flow of traffic on the EO Libla Highway, which has been a concern of motorists over the years.
The traffic will flow from the Credit Union and in the back road in Belfast. The Carnival Parade Road will start. There's a lane in Mao itself, back street, so the parade and the traffic will not be linking at all.
The town of Portsmouth also promises to have a memorable opening parade for its 2019 Carnival celebrations. Chairperson of the Portsmouth Festivals Committee, Rita Alsud, says the committee has also organized a calendar of events for the patrons.
On the 15th, we're going to have a clash of bands, which will showcase Signal Band and our very own True Rhythm from Portsmouth and Danger Band. Also on the 17th, we'll have a Carnival Beach Lime with and that beach lime will showcase Sensei. We'll have a Sensei display for the tourists, because as you know, it's tourism, and Portsmouth is one of the vibrant areas for tourism, especially on the beach, Purple Beach, where we have a lot of yachts. On the 22nd, we'll have a Lago, we call it a Lago Lime, where we'll have the Stardom tent, and with a few Calypsonians on that day in Lago. And then on the 24th is one of the Portsmouth, we're introducing a new event, which we call the T-shirt street jump up.
The representatives of both Maho and Portsmouth received the checks of $5,000 each from the Dominica Festivals Committee for the staging of the carnival parades. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
The five-star bar and grill in Jimmet is the new home of the Showdown Mass Camp for the rest of the 2019 Calypso season.
Chairperson of Showdown Mass Camp, Dr. Valda Henry, made the announcement during a press conference on Friday. The original venue of the camp had been the Old Mill Cultural Center. However, only 2 events were hosted there, as the camp's organizers were informed the venue would no longer be available. Last week, the tent had been held at Marboyd's Bar near the Woodbridge Bay Port, and Dr. Henry says the support of the patrons was commendable. Also last week, Dr. Henry said the Carnival City had been offered to host a mass camp. However, this did not come through as a meeting with DFC officials was called off.
On Monday, we tried to get the meeting going and it just didn't happen. So on Tuesday morning, I sent off a message to him and saying to him, I kind of needed to have an answer urgently because we need to plan for this coming week. And the answers I needed to 2 key questions were: 1, whether the meeting with DFC would take place on Tuesday, and 2, what were the possibilities that the offer of the stadium forecourt was still a valid offer. And he responded that the answer to both things was no, that the meeting would not take place and we would not be able to use the stadium forecourt.
Henry says she was contacted by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and Culture regarding the unavailability of the Old Mill.
The PS of Culture, Miss Privot, did make contact with us over the weekend, and on Monday we had detailed conversations. In fact, she indicated that she too had been searching for alternative venue because the Old Mill continues to be not an option, and they have promised to refund the payments that we had made for the use of the Old Mill.
According to Henry, arrangements have been made to host the Showdown Mass Camp at 5-Star Bar and Grill in Jimmet.
And we are happy to report that the Showdown Mass Camp will take place this evening as the 5-Star Grill and Bar. Well, it looks like it's going to be the new home for Mass Camp for the rest of the season, because the show for next week with Signal Band is going to be held there. The show on the 22nd is with Triple K. We had already confirmed Triple K for the 22nd. Is going to be held there. And then the last show, which is the 20th, is going to be the Champ of the Camp.
Dr. Henry says the continuous change of venue has had a financial impact on the camp.
All these upheavals have affected our revenue capacity. Because of that, all of this uncertainty, we've not been able to. Normally we do a bar and a food. We've really not done that. We didn't have one last week. We're not going to have one this week. Because of the venue, a little bit further, that is one of the, we believe some persons may not want to make that trip, and that is one of the reasons why we've made the arrangements with the bus drivers to provide that shorter service, so that at least they're assured of transportation from town and back into town.
The shuttles for Showdown Mass Camp will leave the VF Inc. office on Cork Street at 7:30 p.m.
And one of the calypsos out this year has gotten the attention of one prominent Dominican. Parry Bellot, a former government press secretary in the Dame Eugenia Charles administration, says Parry the Parrot by Sai, the Calypsonian, is his favorite calypso. Parry's reaction to the song, which incidentally mentions other names, is not the usual reaction. Here's a short clip of the song, followed by Parry Bellot's reaction.
Forestry division, in chaos and confusion, here in Dominica. Why? If you know the legacy of the parrot and Parry, when his master in danger, you can always hear Parry singing for his supper.
I think the name is, I haven't quite got the name and I haven't quite got the singer, Parry the Parrot. So once again, they have me featured, not the first time on Calypso. No, I only mention that because I'm still of the view that Calypsonians should be allowed to say anything about anybody. I think so. In terms of me, they can say the worst things, no problem. But what Calypsonians have to remember, 50 years ago, when you sang a calypso and you talk all about this little nastiness and this fella with an affair and so on, that was just, he said it at a show. That was it. There was not even recordings and so on. Now there's recordings, there's tapes, that goes on the internet all over the world. So if you mess up a guy's name, he has every right to sue. And that's Iran proof. Absolutely. Yes. So they have to keep that in mind. I just love the principle of Calypso being able to talk about everything that I say, when it comes to me, they can say what they want. I remember I was with the Freedom Party, Eugenia Charles, when Charmaine Green called me to say there's this popular Calypso and it mentions me and so on, and they're worried about if they play it, whether I would sue. And I told her, and that's, well, when Eugenia Charles there, that's 30 years ago, thereabout, no problem.
You're doing your bit.
That's my bit, support that art form, for sure.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are,
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
there's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
A retired law enforcement officer with 30 years' experience in detective work in the UK recommends that the country revisits the issue of granting bail to individuals charged with murder. David Michael says if it's the Constitution that's allowing judges to grant murderers bail, he's suggesting that the Attorney General and the Minister for National Security give the matter urgent consideration and make recommendations to Cabinet. He does not believe this is satisfactory in the current climate, where Dominica is investing heavily in tourism, building hotels and developing the cruise industry.
Now, I think when someone has executed, or when someone prima facie has executed someone with a firearm, it's drugs related, I think bail should be a very, very unusual occurrence. So I am really concerned, and I think the authorities, I think the government, the Minister of Justice, the Attorney General should also be very concerned that people who've been charged with murder using firearms are then getting out on bail back into the community. It then provokes opportunities for tit for tat, more homicides, putting more innocent people at risk when people are quite willing to do it in the middle of Roseau in broad daylight.
And although grappling with challenges related to climate change, wide fiscal deficits and high public debt, as well as high unemployment, the Caribbean Development Bank CDB is projecting that the region's economy is expected to grow by 2% this year. CDB President Dr. Warren Smith shared the bank's forecast at its annual news conference in Barbados. The president outlined that the majority of the bank's borrowing members recorded economic growth of averaging 1.9% compared with 0.5% in 2017. He noted that the fastest growing regional economies of 2018 were Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada and Guyana. Grenada's region-leading performance of 5.2% continued a 5-year positive trend as the country continues to experience the financial growth coming out of its homegrown economic reform program. Reconstruction efforts led the way to 3.5% growth in Antigua and Barbuda as the country rebuilt and recovered following the passage of Hurricane Irma on Barbuda in 2017. He highlighted the bank's ongoing work and partnership to build climate resilience. These include an agreement with the United Kingdom's Department for International Development and the United Kingdom Caribbean Infrastructure Fund for reconstruction in Barbuda and Dominica. The CDB will also administer the Dominica Disaster Recovery and Resilience Fund, established and funded by the Government of Canada, which will enhance post-disaster response, build more climate-resilient schools, and empower communities across the country. The bank also signed an agreement with the Green Climate Fund, which will facilitate more climate finance projects in the region. And an important meeting on Venezuela concluded in Montevideo, Uruguay on Thursday. Representatives from Uruguay, Mexico, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, the UK, Bolivia, Costa Rica and Ecuador met and formed the International Contact Group on Venezuela. The EU's foreign minister presented the final declaration.
The group aims to forge a common international approach to support a peaceful, political, democratic and Venezuelan-owned resolution to the crisis, excluding the use of force, through free, transparent and credible presidential elections in accordance with the Venezuelan constitution. To that end, the group, through the co-chairs of the meeting, that is the two of us, will proceed with the necessary contacts with relevant Venezuelan actors as well as with regional and international partners, with the aim of, first, establish the necessary guarantees for a credible electoral process within the earliest time frame possible, and second, enable the urgent delivery of assistance in accordance with international humanitarian principles. To implement these goals, the International Contact Group will send a technical mission to the country. The group will reconvene at ministerial level by the beginning of March to take stock of progress. And in between, we will have a senior officials meeting in the next couple of weeks.
However, it is important to note that this declaration was not signed by Mexico and Bolivia. According to Bolivia's foreign minister, his government did not agree with the contact group's call for early election. He said this could only be an end result of such negotiations. Just prior to the International Contact Group meeting, Mexico and Uruguay came to a different agreement on Venezuela, which came to be known as the Montevideo Mechanism. This agreement focuses on 4 steps of the negotiation strategy for overcoming the crisis in Venezuela. Meanwhile, Russia's foreign ministry said that has information that the White House has been discussing plans for a military intervention in Venezuela.
L'anicine tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nick pour yo ouais si la ni pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV P ni TB aussi. Savent qui la ni guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité ou. Aidez du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. CDB projects 2% economic growth for the region in 2019. Retired law enforcement official calls for a review of the provision of bail for people charged with murder. And Carnival opens officially in Maho and Portsmouth this weekend. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Have a great weekend.